just like anything else, you can find success if you go all in on it. We like to tell the stories of the nurses and allied healthcare professionals that we serve. There's no better marketing message that can possibly be created than to have one customer talk to another prospective customer and tell them their personal story. There are moments in your life that you choose things for different reasons. We're not going close to answering that question.
In this episode, I'm talking to Brian LeCount, CMO of Health Carousel, a healthcare workforce service provider that supported over 12 million patients since 2004. According to some online sources, they're doing over $600 million per year in revenue. We're going to cover many things. Number one, which social media platforms are best for targeting hospitals, healthcare providers, and nurses in the year 2024. Number two, examples of event marketing initiatives that work well in the healthcare industry. And number three, of course, I'm going to try to figure out all the spicy details. How much money they spend in marketing per year, the breakdown of all the different marketing channels, how much he gets paid as a CMO, and more. And every time he can't answer a question, we're going to take a shot of hot sauce from our sponsors, Seed Ranch Flavor & Co. Wish me luck, Martians. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, we have a guest calling all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. I believe you're going to be our first guest from Cincinnati. We have this CMO of a company called Health Carousel. And basically, Health Carousel is a leading healthcare staffing and workforce solution provider, basically with opportunities to enhance patient care and improve global healthcare access. And I believe also Health Carousel is based in Cincinnati. So we have Brian LeCount on the show today. So Brian, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Hi, Simon.
How's it going? And so you're calling from Cincinnati, born and raised Cincinnati?
Born and raised Cincinnati. Yeah, I am. There's a lot of folks from Cincinnati move in, a lot of folks move out, and some are born here and never leave.
And you're the other side.
I'm the latter. Yep.
You're the latter. Yeah, cool. So you met the team. We actually have some of our team members on the call right now. So they're kind of our audience members. Basically, the theme of the show is I've gotten thrown these list of hot sauce questions. Every so often, I'm going to sprinkle in some of these hot sauce questions. Hopefully, you can answer them. If you can't, you and I both take a shot of hot sauce on the show. Our team sent you some hot sauce. What do you got for us today? What's kind of weapon are we working with?
I have three. I have this sounds like a Nashville Korean Nash Seoul hot.
Okay,
so I've got that one. Cayenne and garlic. I've got a truffle hound.
Okay, I got that one.
Okay,
I got that one. So I'm at you on that one.
And I have everything but the sushi and dumplings. That sounds good.
Okay, so that's the lighter one. I got the umami reserve from them.
Okay.
This one is the spiciest one out of the bunch. So it's going to be exciting. Which one should we start off with? You can choose as the guest.
Well, you said the sushi and dumplings was the lighter one, so I'll put that up first.
Okay, I'll do the truffle, and so I'll do the truffle twice with you because I don't have that one.
All right, so we're starting this whole thing with hot sauce. We're not no questions. We're just right out of the gate, hot sauce. Huh?
We're actually not even going to be talking. We're just going to be shooting for the whole hour, just hot sauce. Okay, so I'm gonna pour. I think you've already pre-poured yours.
I've got it.
So I'll do a light one to start, just a light half spooner, and you got it poured already. Okay, so cheers.
All right,
welcome
cheers.
to the show.
Oh, I like that one.
What is it like?
Exactly what I would put on dumplings.
So the name,
very good.
The name was perfect.
Everything cool. But the sushi and dumplings. Yeah, it's really good.
Exactly. Nice. Okay. So what we like to do in the beginning is just kind of get to know who you are and kind of your career progression. So maybe walk us through your career. And I know you used to you worked in a lot of different roles before Health Carousel, but maybe walk us through kind of like your career and
Sure.
what led you to today.
Sure. I came out of school and worked for a couple of companies in corporate marketing roles. I worked for a healthcare staffing company, same type of company, actually by the original founder of Health Carousel, but I worked for him about 20 years ago. Went to work for a couple of other companies, entertainment ticketing, software, and consulting firms, and I had a great opportunity to start my own marketing shop back about, 20 years ago. Ran a small marketing communications agency here in Cincinnati for a bunch of years, had a blast doing that. I wanted to work on some bigger brands, and about that time, the market shifted. 2008, to be specific, hit, and the market crashed of '08. And I had an opportunity to think about, do I want to continue with my business or move on? I brought in a partner and asked him to help me figure out a pivot for that company. And I went to work for a large agency here in Cincinnati that went through a variety of different iterations, different acquisitions and mergers and movements, and as many large global agencies do. That ultimately landed with an agency called Gray, and Gray is out of New York. A global, famously effective is their slogan, advertising agency. And I had the good fortune to lead some strategy teams and get involved in a lot of great clients there over a period of about 10 years.
Yeah, they're large. They have like over 3,000 employees.
Yeah,
Really large company.
Really loved working in that industry, that business. Got to touch a lot of different types of clients across industries, which is the great part about advertising agency work. And traveled a lot, and happened to be stepping off a plane and ran into the founders of Health Carousel, one of which I had worked for 20 years in the past. And we had stayed in touch pretty well over the years, but hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and just kind of had an opportunity to come have a conversation and see what there might be. And that took about 1.5 to 2 years of getting kind of the timing right. But I landed here at Health Carousel in 2019. So it's been about 5 years.
Wow, that's incredible. And you're pretty involved with the executive community as well. You're part of the CMO collective as well, right?
I enjoy staying involved in as much as I can. I used to be involved in a little bit more with some local startups and some accelerator groups that are here. I haven't had as much time to do that in the last few years, but I used to love to do that as often as I could.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, we're going to dive into the company, and we might dive into your background. We might loop back and dive into the background. But before we get into anything, we like to kind of get the viewers to understand the scope and the size of the company, because I know that I've done a little bit of research. I know you guys are quite large. You guys have almost 1,000 employees, kind of thing, and revenues are quite substantial. So maybe this might be our first hot sauce question. Give us a sense of how large a company is, like in terms of revenue. Like, what are you guys doing per year?
Sure. Well, our company has been in business about 20 years. We have a couple of key businesses. We have a domestic healthcare staffing business. We also have an international business, which brings foreign educated healthcare providers into the United States that wish to immigrate to the U.S. to bring their families and start a new life and a new career. We have all in a few thousand healthcare professionals working assignments in all 50 states. And alongside of that, 400 or 500 internal employees that work to help make that happen every day. In terms of, we've had a number of different kind of growth trajectories over the years. Went through an acquisitive phase where we brought on a bunch of new brands, new organizations that we acquired. We've since assimilated some of those brands over the years and remained kind of focused on our two primary businesses. To answer your question specifically, revenue-wise, what I could share is what's been published publicly as of 2023 is a little bit north of $600 million.
North of $600 million. Okay. Hold on. We got hot sauce signs. Is that?
Did I not answer that question?
Okay. Okay, I guess north of 600 million. I thought it was good, but wow, this I also saw something like 750 million online, but
Well, there's years change and pandemics come and go, and certainly during the pandemic, our company did more business during that period of time than post pandemic, as did many healthcare staffing firms. So a little bit of ebb and flow there, but
okay. Well, that the team is going strong.
voting against the answer, I guess.
I know.
So.
I thought that was a good answer. I'm on Team Brian there, but Team Brian. But all right, So which one are you doing now? Are you doing the truffle now?
This would be Truffle Hound. Yeah.
Okay, the truffle is quite nice. It's quite nice.
There we go. I agree with you. And spicy.
It is a little slightly more spicy.
Yeah. But good.
I think the Nashville one later when you try it, it's gonna be slightly more spicy than that. But but are you a spice guy? You eat quite spicy?
I do like spice. Yeah, I do like spice. Yeah, I don't like spice that's so hot it blows your head off. But I do like to actually taste what I'm eating. And there's some hot sauces out there that are pretty spicy.
Yeah, quite spicy.
Yeah, I could do without some of the worst ones. I don't do ghost pepper.
Oh yeah, ghost is. When we first started off, fun fact: when we first started off the show, I didn't know what it felt like to take 4 shots of hot sauce. I don't know how often you take shots of hot sauce in your regular life, but I did. I never did before the show. And so in the beginning, I went out and like a typical dude, I thought I could handle a little bit more, and I bought the beginning of the show. Long story short, was just ghost pepper shots, and
you had short episodes,
yeah, or long episodes, and then long recovery period afterwards.
Long recovery, yeah, right.
It was rough, but okay, cool. So you guys are quite large, and you guys are all around all 50 states. So you must travel quite a bit to all the different states, or are you mostly in Cincinnati?
I personally have the fortune of not traveling a whole lot. I lead our marketing teams and a couple of other initiatives. We have sales folks and account management folks and others that routinely are out with client facilities in all 50 states, and we have other leaders that are traveling internationally to our Philippines affiliate and working with some groups there, and some folks that travel into Africa for some of our foundation work and some of the investments we make in kind of nursing education in some of those countries. But I've been lucky to not travel nearly as much as I used to.
As you used to, yeah. You mentioned you used to travel quite a bit. You met the Health Carousel guys at the airport, which is crazy.
That's right.
So, what is the business model for you guys? I know you guys are working with healthcare facilities and service providers and all that. But what's the business model, and who are your target clients, your ICPs?
Yeah. So most staffing companies really are operate as a two-sided marketplace. You have the client facility, the organization that needs the hire, needs the talent, and you have the talent itself. And so staffing companies typically have a sales organization that is out building relationships with current and prospective clients. In our case, that is acute care hospitals and other types of healthcare facilities all over the country that are in need of qualified registered nurses and allied healthcare professionals. So we contract with those facilities. They provide to us the talent needs that they have in the form of specific job orders. I need a nurse that works the ICU on the night shift for this period of time, or I need 25 medical surgical nurses for these shifts, whatever that might be. They provide their assignment, their job order needs to us. And then we go out and we recruit qualified healthcare professionals that meet those requirements all over the country. So we recruit registered nurses, allied healthcare professionals. Inside the allied profession, there's there's dozens of healthcare professions there. But we recruit those folks. We build relationships with them. So we have a recruiting core of people that is focused on the talent itself, sourcing, qualifying, credentialing, and preparing healthcare professionals to be submitted to the healthcare facility for interviews and consideration for the assignment. And then, so we then kind of help make that match. That's the essential business model of a staffing company. So again, it's healthcare facilities, hospitals, acute care, and others, and registered nurses and allied health professionals.
Okay, cool. So you're pretty much on top of, you're working with a lot of healthcare providers. Do you see a lot of the innovation that's happening? Because I know healthcare innovation, I see it, like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff happening in there. Do you get to see firsthand some of the innovation that's happening in the healthcare industry, or you're pretty far removed from that? And yeah,
well, we are somewhat removed from the patient care aspect of healthcare. We don't interact with patients. We're not in the facility itself. Our providers are. So we are not really involved in innovation as it relates to the delivery of patient care or particular medical practice. Some of the innovation that we see happening are really changes in how hospitals are delivering care and how that then affects their staff mix. So more care is, in the United States, is moving outside of the hospital into outpatient ambulatory care facilities.
Yeah.
And so you see more of the care happening outside of the acute care hospital, and so of course staffing needs kind of move in some of those directions. The other thing you see is hospitals, given the decades long nursing shortage of a few 100,000 nurses every year that our country is short, you see hospitals working to innovate to build broader care teams so that the physician and the registered nurse are not the only two direct care providers, particularly in a shortage. That can be really difficult. So you've got hospitals that are involving LPNs, licensed practical nurses, and others in the total care team to take care of the total needs of the patient when they are challenged to find enough nurses. Therefore, it doesn't have to all be the nurse. And you can kind of divide the types of care at skill levels that you need across different types of resourcing in a hospital. So we see that happening as well.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to be moving. We're gonna give this a shot. This hopefully not an actual shot. We'll see. We're doing a segment, pretty popular segment called This or That. So I'm gonna ask you five questions, this or that, and you have to choose one of them. And we might sprinkle something spicy in there. It's prepared by the team. All right. All right. I'll give you the two options, and you choose one. So, data-driven campaigns or gut instinct marketing?
Data-driven.
Late night Netflix or early morning reading?
Late night Netflix.
Spicy food or sweet treats?
Spicy food.
Super speed or superpower? Be really fast or the ability to pause time?
Pause time.
All right. Now the last question. Do you know Shelby, your director of travel nursing?
I do.
Do you know Justine, your associate director of marketing?
I do.
Who do you dislike working with more, Shelby or Justine?
Between those two. No answer. Here it comes. Yeah.
Good job, team. Look at what you're doing.
I don't dislike working with either one of them. They're both delightful people that are supremely talented, and we are fortunate to have them here. I wish we had more of both of them.
And it's the honest answer. Unfortunately, the team will not accept it. We see the
I see
signs.
That.
All right, so I'm gonna level up here. I'm gonna go with the umami. This is the spiciest one that they have. It's not too spicy. It's habanero. So I'm gonna go with this. What do you have next?
All right, we've got the Nash Soul Hot.
All right.
Here we go.
All right. I'm going with half a spoon here.
I really like that one. spice, but it was good.
Yeah, that is spicy. Ooh. Wow.
So at least it's late at night for you and not early.
Yeah. I don't know what I prefer more, to be honest. I've done like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. podcasts, and it's like I think overall the late night one is a little bit better. So you work quite closely with all the other teams in your role.
We do. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We support both sides of our marketplace. So we have marketing efforts designed to support our sales efforts with client facilities and how we position our organization to be a much more than just a transactional, provider of staff, but a thought leader and a consultant to their facility and how to properly staff that facility to deal with rises and decreases in patient need and patient census. So patient census goes up and goes down throughout the year. You might imagine that patient census goes up during cold and flu season and it goes down during the summer, and hospitals need to kind of flex their staffing model to meet that. So we work with them to really study what their needs are and how their patient census and the mix of patients and care needs kind of changes throughout the year, and design a staffing solution that meets their needs. And then we also have a bit of a larger marketing effort focused on the talent itself. Nurses and allied healthcare professionals are the in-demand resource, and so we have to build a brand and a message and an experience that attracts them to our company and makes Health Carousel the employer of choice when they have lots of other options.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys have done really well. You've grown to all 50 states, so I'm sure you guys are doing something, many things, right? And one of those things is understanding the data across the different states and knowing when to support the healthcare more, providers more during flu season and all that. And I'm sure you have all that data. And now you guys sell to the actual service providers themselves, which means a lot of your marketing effort is trying to target those people, right? Those and who are you specifically targeting? Is it usually are there certain titles and positions that you're targeting, like roles, like the roles that are the most popular, most common?
Well, let's stick with nursing for just a moment. So registered nurses today work in a variety of different ways or models. The vast majority of registered nurses in the United States work as bedside nurses, full-time employees of the hospital. Okay. Alongside of that, there are contract or temporary or contingent workers that supplement that full-time staff when that patient census goes up and down, right? So you would never, if you're a hospital, you would never staff to your peak seasons with all full-time people. You would also never, because when it goes down, you'd have too much staff, right?
Right.
You would never staff to the floor of your need because it would be very difficult to scale back up. So you staff somewhere in the middle, and then you supplement with temporary staff, those provided by a company like ours, to fill in the gaps. And so nurses work either full-time for a hospital, or they might work independently as shift-based, which is called per diem, shift-based work in nursing, or they might work for a staffing company who can put them on shorter-term contracts at facilities around the country and then move them around if they're interested in seeing different parts of the country or working in different types of facilities. That's called travel nursing. And so we place travel nurses on 13-week assignments all over the country. And then sometimes those assignments extend a little bit longer. Sometimes they extend for a lot longer if the hospital really likes them and they have the ongoing need. But yeah, it did. In the nursing profession, it's registered nurses that are on contract assignments as opposed to working full-time as an employee of the hospital, and choose to work in that more flexible way so that they can have a little bit more, maybe it's more balance, work-life balance, maybe it's a little more control over their schedule or a bit more freedom as opposed to working just for a single hospital.
Right. So hospitals is one of your customers are the hospitals itself. So you have direct relationships with the hospitals, right? I think you mentioned senior homes at some point early on? Do you
We don't
work
do
with
a
senior
lot.
homes?
We do a little bit in skilled nursing facilities, but not significant. A little bit more in some of the ambulatory, but the vast majority of the contract staffing we provide is in acute care hospitals.
Right. Okay. Acute care hospitals. Okay. So hospitals, ambulatory. So these seems to be your top, I guess, ICPs. Now, when it comes to marketing, is most of your marketing nowadays actually trying to get new contracts? Because I imagine once you get the contract, they're long-term contracts, right? Like hospitals are not moving around switching staffing companies every single year, I assume.
Typically not. There is some consolidation happening where they might choose to work with a managed services provider, an MSP, because typically it takes more than one agency to fill all of the needs inside of a hospital. And so sometimes
Ooh.
these they form an MSP agreement where a single staffing firm will kind of dole out the needs to all the staffing companies that might submit people to that.
Yeah.
But I would say far and away, the vast majority, like all but a couple of single digit percentage points of our marketing is focused on recruiting the in-demand talent, the nurse and allied health professional.
And okay, so let's put a pin on this one then. What is your breakdown in terms of your marketing spend for the attracting of talent? Like, where are you spending most of your money?
95% towards the talent, 5% towards the hospitals, something like that.
Yeah. And then when it comes to attracting the talent, where are you spending the money right now? Is it mostly paid search, or are you spending mostly on job boards currently? Or
we do all of it. We do job boards and third-party lead sources. We do a lot of paid social.
paid social? Okay.
We do a lot of paid search. We invest a lot in our own database that we've already developed. So remarketing to our database, building lookalike audiences, nurturing the database with lots of email and text and based marketing, and then a fair amount of kind of branding work, content creation, and organic social kind of rounds some of that out. We also do some event. That's kind of next.
Okay, so like hiring fairs where you just get a bunch of nurses?
No, not so much hiring fairs. Most of the events we've done in the past have either been a conference or focused kind of engagement events where we have lots of nurses working. So there are some of our clients where we've got 50, 100 nurses working in a single facility or a collection of facilities in a concentrated geographical area. We'll go there and put on a fun event for them. We'll ask them to bring their friend nurses that are working at the facility, but maybe don't work for us yet. And we'll show them a good time and probably pick up some of their friends that are also nurses that are working with us. That's most of it.
Wow.
Although we just launched and did our first inaugural Nursing Careers Week event just about 2 weeks ago, November 11th to the 15th. It will now and for each year in the future be designated as National Nursing Careers Week. It is during Professional Development Month. And we now have a platform to kind of acknowledge, celebrate, and recognize nurses for building great careers and also inspire other nurses to lean forward in the chair, invest in their careers, do the hard work necessary to become a better, faster, stronger nurse at the bedside, and kind of recommit to the calling of nursing and for caring for people, because the pandemic did a number on nurses, and it really burned them out. And country needs our nurses at the bedside. We don't need them leaving the profession. And so Nurses Week and a lot of the careers related efforts that we have built and continue to build are designed to give nurses more reasons to stay in the profession for longer.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. You guys are doing amazing work. Coming back to what we're talking about, the initial question was the breakdown of the marketing channels. So job boards, third party, advertisers, paid social, all that, events, and like you mentioned, that's like 95% of your spend. How much is your marketing budget for a $600 million plus company? I assume it's quite substantial. This also could be a hot
If you
sauce
look at,
question, but
yeah, it might end up being a hot sauce question. If you look at um, the staffing industry as a whole, most staffing companies spend a few percentage points of revenue on marketing. We're right in the kind of middle to upper quartile of marketing spend, but I'm not prepared to give you a number.
all right. Okay. That
Here
the
we go.
team is fast. The team is fast with the hot sauce sign. What are you thinking? You gonna stick with the Nashville, or you gonna go back to the truffle, or
I think I'm going back to the truffle.
you go back to
That's
truffle?
pretty
Okay,
good.
I'll do the truffle with you as
Add a
well.
little more spice to it.
How cool is the branding though? If you look at, it's like a wolf
Yeah, I like it.
with some trees on it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, to put that on a t-shirt.
Gotta put that on a t-shirt. Exactly.
All right, here we go.
All right, Cheerios. Now, what do you think the nurses would say about us taking shots of hot sauce in the morning and at night?
Hope you have a bedpan nearby.
Right? I'm no healthcare expert, but yeah, I don't know. This is the smartest, but okay. So you guys are spending almost majority of your marketing budget towards talent, and with the 5% spend, where you're actually spending towards trying to attract new hospitals, what is that spend going into? Like, what's the breakdown of that spend?
It is almost entirely kind of brand and relationship building events where we try to get out in front of small groups of clients, facilities, and have consultative conversations with them, talk about best practices. There are some industry organizations that kind of really lead the thinking as it relates to hospitals and care, and we partner with some of those organizations to bring some strong thinking to them about how to think about staffing your facility. So it's a thought leadership effort, predominantly in person, that kind of favors content and best practices and storytelling, like largely through video of our clients that are most successful with their kind of their staffing operation in partnership with Health Carousel.
That makes sense. And now I'm curious because I've never been to a healthcare party before. You said you host events and parties for nurses and also events/parties. Well, more consultative.
I'd call it like a
events.
client advisory board type of.
Okay, so
meeting.
it's not a party.
It's a far cry from a party. There might be some parties afterwards at the restaurant, but
what
the event itself.
What kind of like just some drinks, or you guys go into a lounge or something afterwards? Like what kind of?
No,
I don't know how healthcare people.
It's not Vegas. It's a little tamer than that.
Yeah.
Dinner and some drinks with clients we value.
Okay. What about on the nursing front? Like how large are these parties that you guys are hosting? Like how many people usually show up?
Well, I mean, we've done conferences in the past, like, the industry's largest conference is called TravCon, and that attracts
TravCon,
a few thousand travel nurses and allied health professionals every year. That one is in Las Vegas. It's a bit more of a party. We've deprioritized that event. While fun and engaging, we've found it to be less effective at helping us build like close connections with nurses. It's much more of a trade show type of environment, and we've opted for some of our own smaller engagement events in locations where we've got a bunch of nurses. So, we'll go do an engagement event for 15 to 20 nurses. We'll go do an event for 50 nurses. It just kind of depends on where we feel like we need to spend some time, some groups of people that we haven't seen in a while that we want to make sure feel well taken care of by our company, and we keep them close. And so we kind of just bounce around to different locations where we've got some critical mass, and put on a happy hour event or a dinner or something like that shows them we appreciate them.
Nice. And which which location has the highest concentration of nurses for you guys, and how large? What's the scale of some of those meetups?
Yeah, we have a good body of nurses in the Northeast.
Northeast. Okay.
We also have some really great clients in the Southeast. We have some wonderful clients and nurses operating and working here in the Midwest. We are not typically very saturated out in California, but we also have a pretty significant kind of coverage of rural communities, which is where healthcare professionals are more desperately needed than perhaps anywhere else, is in rural communities that have a hard time attracting qualified healthcare professionals to their communities.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And now when it comes to, because you spend money across so many different platforms, paid search, paid social, what has been your top learning when it comes to these marketing channels, and maybe more specifically, out of all these different channels, which seems to work the best for you guys, and maybe the top learning there?
Okay. Well, I mean, I wish I could say that, our paid social and, paid search have really innovated in big ways. It feels like in some ways the paid social channels have come backwards in their targeting capabilities. They've really pulled back the depth at which you can target audiences and the rules for targeting. I understand why. We don't want to be profiling, or we certainly don't want to be discriminatory or anything like that. They've built rules and policies around that. But for advertisers, it does make it supremely more difficult to find the audiences that you want to reach online.
Absolutely.
However, there is still a role for those platforms, and whether that's a bit more upper funnel kind of brand awareness, as opposed to kind of direct action or a lead gen kind of ad. There's an appropriate mix there. So I think that using first party data, a lot of it our own, and building strong remarketing audiences is for those platforms where targeting capabilities are a bit too broad, is really a way to win there. And we've done that. We've, over 20 years, we've built a significant database of qualified healthcare professionals. In principle, we know what a qualified healthcare professional that ends up going on assignment looks like from an advertising perspective, and we can build lookalike audiences around that, and that's been pretty effective for us. There's also no better targeting than the keyword that somebody is searching on. So certainly Google's platforms are
paid search,
very good. Paid search, YouTube, are very good platforms for finding people with specific intent and stated intent, and so those are really great platforms as well. We've done a fair share programmatic and other things, and I think there's some of those things have their place, but we probably have not yet fully maximized our opportunity on some of the channels I already mentioned, and so we're cautious about spreading ourselves too thin and putting too many resources in too many different baskets and diluting the impact we can have across them all. So we tend to stay focused when we find a winner and test creative and different audience mix elements to optimize it.
Yeah. You mentioned YouTube. And so what's working there for you guys? And what kind of tips would you have for other marketers that are using YouTube as a channel to target the healthcare industry?
Yeah, we use we start by telling long form stories about the healthcare professionals that we help, and we've got a great video partner that helps us find the healthcare professionals with really amazing stories to tell, whether that is a international healthcare provider that's come from a faraway country and has this journey story to tell, which are really amazing to tell those stories, or it's a domestic travel nurse that has chosen to work in this way and has really experienced a new kind of freedom and flexibility and work-life balance in their career. And so we like to tell the stories of the nurses and allied healthcare professionals that we serve. There's no better marketing message that could possibly be created than to have one customer talk to another prospective customer and tell them their personal story. And
Yeah.
so we spend a lot of time and effort on long form docu-style video storytelling to bring those people to life. And you'll see a lot of those types of things on our YouTube channels. But then we also break all of that down into smaller units, shorter segments, statics, animated, and use them as organic content, as ad units, as YouTube shorts, as all kinds of stuff
Cool.
with little sound bites. So that's kind of the content game, right? You build long form content, you cut it down into a million pieces, and you've got ad units and organic content for days and weeks. So
it makes so much sense. Like you mentioned, a lot of these social channels, the targeting for lead gen is just not as strong as it once was. Maybe 5-6 years ago, the story was a little different, but nowadays it's more top of funnel, more brand awareness. So I think you guys are, and you mentioned earlier that you're investing a lot more in video content as well. And I think that's the play, hence why we're doing this show as well. Just video content. You mentioned work-life balance, and I know one of our team members, Noe, really wanted to ask you this. You mentioned work-life balance several times, and we saw this very, very important during COVID, as many of the nurses were overworked, and now is a message that you're still spreading. From a personal standpoint, how are you, I guess, personally dealing with work-life balance, and then how do you advocate work-life balance amongst nurses or people in your organization? Any apps, tips, tricks, or hacks?
I don't really have a trick. I don't have hard switches for when life turns on and work turns off, and vice versa. For me, it's more about work-life integration.
Yeah.
And so
Totally.
it doesn't bother me to get a message in the evening and need to answer it. It doesn't bother me to get a phone call over the weekend for something that maybe somebody's trying to get ahead on and could really use some input. So that kind of stuff, I don't completely turn anything off. And that doesn't mean I don't relax. It doesn't mean I don't go on vacation. It doesn't mean I don't have some quiet time. But for me, it's not about like hard on and off. It's about how does it fit into the life you want to live, and that's what I work to kind of achieve.
How stressed are you right now out of 10?
1.
Okay, cool. Well, you got your answer. Yeah, I that's incredible that you're at 1. I mean, you do feel pretty chill. So I mean,
there's lots of stuff going. I mean, there's we work in a very important field with very important professionals that are taking care of patients every day. We take our role in that very, very seriously. We believe our purpose in the world is to improve lives and make healthcare work better. To do that, we have to make sure that people have access to a healthcare provider when and where it's needed. And we hold a great responsibility for making sure that we are providing only the highest qualified healthcare professionals possible, because ultimately they are going to be at the side of the bed taking care of your mom or your dad or your brother or my sister.
For sure.
And so that's an incredible amount of responsibility that we do stress a lot about. But we're very good at it. We have great teams, and we have capable people. And, we'd like to think that 99.9999% of the time we get it 100% right. And we fix when we don't. So there's plenty of things to stress about. But
cool. All right. So we're about 5 minutes left until the end. You've been a great sport. We're going to do one last rapid fire round of questions, and then we'll close off with learning a little bit more about yourself and your background, which is something that a segment that I love to do. So I always leave it for the end. Rapid fire. I'm going to ask you 5 questions and you answer rapidly. All right. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
The Mountain West of the United States.
Who's a leader or innovator that you really admire?
Oh, great question. I'm losing a name.
Donald J.
Jay Shetty. Jay
Okay.
Shetty.
Okay.
No, we're not going political on this one.
If you weren't in marketing, what career, like what industry would you be in, you think, or career?
Probably finance or the armed forces.
Nice. What's your guilty pleasure snack?
Salty chips, something crunchy.
Cool. How much money do you make as the CMO of Health
Not even
Carousel?
close.
Oh, okay. I had a feeling that was gonna happen. So this will be our last shot, and then we'll move to learn a little bit more about Brian. Okay. I'm going back spicy. Wait, did you say not enough? Is that what you said?
I think I said not even close. Like we're not going close to answering that question.
Okay, I see. All right, this is a full spoon. I went full here, so we're gonna end it off strong. Must have been a decent salary package though for you to leave your other company. Just saying.
Well, I mean, I've had the good fortune to work a very long time, and there are moments in your life that you choose things for different reasons.
Yeah.
I was living a very fast-paced, difficult life as an advertising agency. It's very tough. It's hard on you. It's a young person's game, and I loved it. I loved every second of it, but you know, it's not entirely sustainable.
Oh,
and I've been doing that for 10 years. And you doing all right there?
Yeah.
So there are times in your career when you change jobs and move different places for the money because you're trying to, you know, get to some goals with your family. And there are times when you do some things for other reasons. For me, it's never been just about the money. It's about, you know, what kind of work am I going to be doing? What kind of people am I going to be doing it with? Have I ever done this before? Does it sound interesting? For me, this role kind of, you know, was absolutely an intellectual challenge that I wanted to take on that I had not done before. And so for me, like professionally, that was a no-brainer. Like, haven't done it, want to see if I can.
Yeah.
And there were some ways that it was going to support my family differently with me not being on a plane all the time. So for all of those reasons, this was the right, you know, step for me to take. It was far from just about money.
Yeah. Well, curious because you've lived you've had amazing career, worked at big agencies, now CMO of a pretty substantial healthcare company doing quite a bit of revenue. Many people would say that you're living a great life and you're kind of setting a very good example as a CMO. What was life for you like growing up? Like when you were growing up, did your parents kind of teach you a lot of these, you know, trade tricks and business, you know, all these things like networking? It seems like you're a great networker as well. You meet someone on a plane and then they give you a job afterwards. So like, what was life for you? What kind of things did you learn growing up and your mentors and all that stuff?
I have a twin brother and I have a younger sister, and we grew up a very conservative, modest household. My dad struggled professionally. Ended up finishing his working life as a real estate agent. My mom was and still is working in the medical billing agency, but they they were always just very hard workers, focused on family, and kind of did all they could, and taught us that most of what we were going to have in life are things we had to go get ourselves and had to work for. We learned that from a very young age. So we had jobs when we were young. We hustled for some spending money, and put ourselves through college on our own, and figured out that the way of the world was hard work. So for that, I'm eternally grateful to our parents for that, and the rest just kind of happens in a way that maybe in the moment isn't what you wanted, but on the grand scheme, or in total, it worked out okay. So there were jobs that I had that I didn't like, or jobs that I left that I was unsatisfied with. There were things that I joined that I was excited about. We'd all probably look back and do 99 things differently in our lives if we had the opportunity. But on the whole, I feel fortunate. I have a healthy family, and I'm still working. So that's all good.
Well, I'm not gonna ask you which job was your least favorite, because that would probably lead to some extracurricular hot sauce. But no, you've been a great sport, and loved this conversation. We'd love to chat with you sometime in the future again. Before we jump out, I wanted to ask this question, because I know the medical industry is probably more not on. I don't know what platforms they are on, actually, aside from Instagram. I think probably Instagram would probably be a big one, maybe Facebook. But are you guys big LinkedIn users? I see, because I think we found you on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, we have a LinkedIn presence. Typically, most of our professionals do. From a marketing standpoint, it's useful on the client side. We find it less effective on the talent side.
Yeah.
But I think just like anything else, you can find success if you go all in on it, and that's just a platform that we haven't gone all in on. I believe that there are other healthcare staffing companies that are probably doing better than we are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We're choosing to put our chips in some other places and finding success there, and I'm sure some are also succeeding on LinkedIn.
So your top social platform right now, YouTube? Is that your top social?
Instagram. Probably, if you take the word social in the spirit it's meant, definitely Instagram and then Facebook. But
Facebook, yeah.
For reach and other reasons, YouTube's up there too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure talking to you. We'll ping you for round 2 at some point. Maybe in 2025, who knows? But before we jump out, anything you'd like to plug for 2025? Anything big coming up, or things either personally or through Health Carousel?
I'm not in particular. I'm excited about our opportunity in the future to continue to serve nurses, allied healthcare professionals, and clients all over the country. We're focused on becoming a career platform that healthcare professionals can choose to bet a big part of their career on. And so we're continually building ways of working and experiences that make that really worthwhile. I would take from an event standpoint, Nursing Careers Week will be next November. But if you know a healthcare professional, say thank you to them because they take care of all of us, and send one our way sometime.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's a pleasure.